volume levels on this thing?
You have to crank VHS right up, so you can hear a buzz.
Oh, you can hear the buzz.
Because otherwise, because the volume's just a lot lower on VHS. It's not like punchy like a Blu-ray or anything like this.
Yeah.
But I did notice something. Old sound mixes for video, they're like mixed so differently, so you can actually hear what you're supposed to hear. Like, the dialogue is a lot clearer.
Yeah, it's like volume levels.
It's because there's less booming going on, and big booms and stuff and loud music.
Yeah.
It doesn't really happen on a VHS, so you can always hear the dialogue, which is a good thing, really.
Because they're
a bit of hiss and stuff, but like
they're all mixed just for stereo, isn't it? So you have to try and get as much going.
Okay, to go straight into it.
Oh, go right straight to the movie. Okay.
No trailers.
It's a shame. I always like the trailers.
There might be trailers after the film, sometimes at the end of the
yeah, it's like say, you like what you see, maybe, and watch the rest. Boys? Stop watching that trash!
One man's trash is another man's torture. Starring Johann Chipol as the inflictor of pain and Edward Harvey as the victim. From Studio Enigmatic comes the Trash Tapes.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to now the 4th episode of the Trash Tapes. When one man's trash, it's another man's torture. And back here now in the realm and the lair of Edward Harvey, my victim. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm very well, thank you. I'm feeling quite energised after Jesse's story.
You've already getting into the zone, aren't you?
I'm just really enjoyed it. It's a great. I like it.
Good. And myself, and host Johann Chipol, who is the inflictor of pain. And just by that little inkling alone, you might already have a little idea of what we're going to be talking about today. And this movie is sort of infamous in its own circle. And it's a movie from a big franchise, because we did want to talk about this at some point. So this is basically Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge.
Someone is coming back to Elm Street. He is not friendly. He is not patient.
Kill for me.
And he is not a welcome visitor.
No!
But he has something terribly special for the new kid on the block.
It started to happen again. Dad! I'm in trouble. You've had some scary dreams, okay? How?
Daddy can't help you now.
There's something inside him.
Fight him! You are not afraid of him. He doesn't even exist.
Freddy Krueger is back on Elm Street.
Get out of here, Lisa!
Jesse, fight him!
Watch out for him. We'll be in your neighborhood soon. A Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 2.
You are all my children now.
Freddy's Revenge.
So you're quite excited about this. Tell me what you think of the movie.
Well, when I first saw the movie, I was like any kid back in the day. You kind of you often see horror notorious horror movies or famous horror movies before you should, really, at a young age. So I saw this movie when I was really young, I think in sort of secondary school, maybe in the early years of secondary school. So I must have been about sort of maybe 14 or something like that, or maybe a little bit younger. And and I saw the first and the second movie sort of around about the same time, on tape.
Yeah.
And obviously I loved the first one. It scared the hell out of me back then.
Yeah.
And then the second one, I've still found that scary as well, but I didn't necessarily think it was a bad movie as people have called it nowadays. I enjoyed it back then, but I just didn't enjoy it as much as the original. That's.
I think it's interesting how this movie has got a bad rep. And what's interesting about this film is just going through there is a lot of trivia in this movie. And the reason why there's a lot of trivia is because there is so much to analyse in this film. And I'm not talking about because it's garbage, because this is probably a first for the trash tapes, to be honest. This movie isn't terrible.
No.
And I think the reason why we picked it is because it's been known in its own circle as being the worst of the franchise. There is a lot to unpack in that movie.
Definitely.
Which I can definitely say one thing for sure. I'm not entirely sure if it was intentional.
I mean, the director always denied
now, this is
subtext.
The subtext, and this is what's interesting about it. So let's talk about it. Let's break this down first. So, right, the first Nightmare on Elm Street came out, I believe, 1984, right?
Yeah.
So Freddy's Nightmare came about 2 years later. It came out a year later, right?
Freddy's Revenge.
Freddy's Revenge, yeah. yeah, Freddy's Revenge.
Freddy's Nightmare.
Freddy's Nightmare Revenge, basically this one came a year later, right?
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting is that in the realm of the fans, and even in the realm of some of their own filmmakers involved in the series, this movie is considered out of canon. So in other words, even though it falls on the timeline, is never referred to in any of the other sequels ever again.
No.
It's its own little bubble.
Yeah.
And you know how, for example, like in the other sequels, like, the third one, they went back to Nancy, right? Yeah. In the fourth one, they had a new protagonist that lingered on somewhere with Nancy. And then he had the fifth one, which was that Dream Child? Fifth one? It's the one with the pregnant woman?
Yeah, you got Dream Trial. What was the fourth one called?
I can't remember. Dream
you got
something.
Dream Warrior's the third one.
Yes.
Then you got Dream Child.
That's the fifth one.
What's
the fourth one?
There's There's another one. There's two that are dead similar in titles.
Right. Dream Master.
That's it. Yeah.
So
is that the?
That's the fourth one. Yeah.
That's the fourth one. Right.
And that's the one that again had recurring characters. And this is an interesting fact, right? Other than the second one. Every other sequel to some capacity has a connection to either a character or something else within the own original franchise. So 1 and 3 obviously had Nancy, right? 4 and 5 were interlinked.
Well, this one refers to Nancy.
Yeah, but never directly.
No.
The movie starts off technically 5 years after the first movie, which the movie, even though it was launched in 1984, it was supposed to be set in 1981, right? So 5 years later, 1986... basically this new family move into Nancy's home, right? Which stars, which has a really mom gene mom. You've got the dad who's like a total dweeb. You've got the daughter who's eating at the very beginning of the movie Fu Manchu's, which what kind of cereal is that?
It's so weird. Like the family are pretty much like a 50s kind of family, aren't they? 50s TV show family. Like, you got the clean-cut parents.
Yeah.
And, like, the stay-at-home mum and, like, the working dad type of thing.
Totally. And then Jesse comes in the room. Now, Jesse... Now, this is where all this interesting things about this movie kick in, right? So, Jesse, who's played by Mark Patton, right? Now... Okay, this one actually is going to have to require a bit of backstory in order to get into it. So here's a little bit of fact. Now, we've been rambling on about the subtext. Let's just get right to the balls of it. Okay, now...
literally in one scene.
For God's sake, just balls in the face everywhere. And I'm not meaning that as a euphemism. The subtext is that there is clearly, throughout the entire movie, a sense of homoeroticism. And we've been fighting the entire time whether or not the movie... knows it.
Yeah.
Here's the fact. David Chastain, who was the scriptwriter, actually deliberately wrote the screenplay with the homoerotic subtext. Right? So the screenwriter did write it with context, right? 100%. The director had no idea it was homoerotic subtext. So
that's why he's denying it, because he's like, he didn't intend it to be that way.
Not only that, I don't think he knew when he was filming it that it was supposed to be homoerotic subtext.
Yeah.
which is why the movie is so confusing as to whether or not it is, in this case, a homoerotic sort of coming out allegory.
Yeah.
Or
the battle of the writer and the director, isn't it?
The director did not see this as an LGBT movie, while the screenwriter definitely did. And what's interesting is, looking at the fact as well, Robert Englund knew this as well.
Yeah, because I read an article about this movie, and he wanted to push it further in certain scenes.
Yes.
But the actor felt uncomfortable apparently or something, like in certain scenes. Like there's one scene where he early on when Freddie emerges and he sort of like puts his finger around, like his claw around his mouth. He wanted to actually put the claw into his mouth.
Yeah. But
the actor was like, nah, I don't really want to do that or something. Yeah. And so England just kind of went, okay then, don't worry.
All right, no, it's fine. The thing is, if maybe this is an interesting thing, it's maybe is because it was so 80s as well, and this is what's interesting about it. It's so 80s, that movie, that it blended the line between homoeroticism and what was considered to be 80s machoism. Because some of it's really fucking macho.
Yeah.
And some of it's really, really gay, right? Now, the thing is, there was a completely different idea for the second movie. There was a script for the second film which was going to have Nancy back, but the script never gone beyond the primary phase. But it was very convoluted. They didn't know how to kind of write it in. They didn't know how to explain it, and it was originally a first sort of draft phase kind of thing.
I mean, that would if they had that title, it would make sense. If it was Nancy to be called Freddy's Revenge.
Yes, exactly. It made no sense.
Now it seems to be like, it's revenge against kids in general. Like, not like Nancy or the people who, like, it's just in general, like, because I kill kids, and in general, I'm having revenge. But, like...
Yeah, I know.
It's vague, isn't it?
It's vague as all fuck, right? Yeah. It's vague as all fuck, right? The original story was going to be this, that Heather Langenkamp, who plays Nancy, right, she was supposed to be coming back, to sort of start to... Basically, she was originally going to be a teacher in the high school, and she was going to be starting out and noticing that school kids are going missing again. And knowing that she already is a step up, would have already had another confrontation with Freddie in the high school. So it would have been a full, like, high school, like, think of Breakfast Club meet Nightmare on Elm Street.
Right.
Which sounds awesome. But it never went through the original phase, which was really, really annoying. Okay?
Because Nancy comes back in the third one.
Yes.
I can't remember what her job is.
She's actually a psychiatrist whose focus is on dreams.
Right.
So it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Okay. But here's the thing. According to IMDb, it says, rather than continue the story of using Nancy, the movie focused on the new residences, wanting originally to have these installments to be own separate things.
Yeah.
So they wanted it to feel like but then again, this is what happened the last time round when they did something with this, when they tried to do Halloween 3. And they tried to do their own separate thing. And while Season of the Witch is awesome in its own thing, it's not a Halloween movie.
No.
It's awesome in its own way, but it's not that. So they wanted to do that originally.
But I suppose this is the thing, though. But it is sort of standing alone a little. But it has got Freddie in it. It's like in the third Halloween, it didn't have Michael Myers.
That's true.
Yeah.
But that's something. But so the idea was that she was going to come back in the second one, but then it's decided to go on this wholly different route, which is why the second one's considered almost its own entity and is no longer canon. Right. Is that Jesse's now getting weird nightmares, and we start off with this nightmare first of all of him on a bus looking really dweebish.
Yeah. Very, like, he's got this, I'm pretty sure he's got like a side parting slicked down. It's like he just looks a bit nerdy, a bit geeky, and he's at the back of the bus on his own.
It's like this proper nerd emo kid sitting in the corner, just going like, it's like, I don't want to talk to anyone, I'm all alone and quiet. And then and everyone's getting off the school bus, driven by Robert Englund.
Yeah.
Which is like a little, I'm not sure whether that's a cameo or foreshadowing, we don't know. And then all go out, so it's only him and these two other, like, bimbo girls.
Yeah.
Who we never get to know the name of anyway. Who just suddenly just go off fucking road. And end up what literally seems to be a lava crater.
Yeah, and it's the bus is, like, just teetering on a bit of rock in the middle of this big canyon of fire. Pretty much.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
It's like a metal video or something.
It's something out of Judas Priest. Uh-oh.
We're going off-road! There's a shortcut.
You see, because as it's on VHS, it's harder to tell that was Freddie, like in the driving the bus. But I reckon if you watched it in high definition,
it's just a guy in a wig.
Well, plus I suppose everyone now knows what he looks like in real life, don't they? Well, it wasn't as shown on the media at the time.
Yeah.
I remember actually the bus ends up like teetering on.
Yeah, I remember this bit. So we got a little emo kid in the back, and these two prep girls about to be toppled over what looks like a volcano. Because okay, the bus just got electrocuted and nothing's happened.
When a field trip goes wrong, never take the wrong turn.
Here he is Fred.
Yeah. At this time, he was still scary Freddy, wasn't he? He wasn't like jokey Freddy.
Yeah, I don't think he was. No, he's still
scary Freddy.
When did the transition happen? When did he start becoming a bit more funnier?
After the third one, because the third one had all the puns in it.
Yeah.
Ooh. You're ruining the upholstery.
Nice Mac cut there.
Very good.
Mommy, why can't Jesse wake up like everybody else? Oh, honey, he's all right.
He's just
having a bad dream.
Baz. Well. And at that point, Freddy is like, now he comes back and goes, and goes for the slash, which then cuts to them in the kitchen, cuts to the family in the kitchen, where the mum's just cutting tomatoes. Because. And then this is where we kind of knew where if there was supposed to be homoerotic subtext, it's very obvious. Because Jesse screams like a banshee.
Yeah, and you see the family downstairs. You hear him upstairs, see the family downstairs, and they're just like, oh, it's a bit awkward. And they're kind of just paused for ages.
It's like, he's just having a bad dream.
Yeah.
It's all.
They never mention it. They react to it in a really awkward, silent way.
And what's funny is like they do it almost in a fashion like, oh, he's always about the dramatics. He does this all the time. Yeah. It's like, oh, he's such a drama queen. Oh, ridiculous. It's because let's say I'm downstairs and let's say you're upstairs and you scream like a fucking banshee. I'm not gonna. The moment you come downstairs, I'm not gonna suddenly go like, yeah, you're right, love. It's like, come on! Something really horrible happened. Be good parents.
The only thing I can think of is, like you say, it's routine. It's happened so many times.
It's like, oh, he's awake. Oh, he's awake.
Having those funny dreams again.
Oh, leave him. He's just being over dramatic. He stubbed his toe. So he goes down, and that's when we're introduced to Jesse the first time around properly. And Jesse's got this is the thing with Jesse, and which is why we always think throughout there is some homoerotic subtext. Because he is not passing himself off, like, at all, to be honest, as being hetero. In fact, he's sort of it's very difficult to explain, but there's small mannerisms that wouldn't be passed off as anything other than not hetero. Sort of mannerism, little lisps and little things like that, which the thing is, the movie is not pointing out, but we notice, but the movie is not saying anything about that. Yeah. Obviously, in the script, it definitely would have said something like that. Obviously, hiring him an openly gay actor is something that adds to the mix. Although, interesting factoid, there are some other people who are interested who are going to play Jesse. Do you want to hear the names? Some of these are quite interesting.
Well, like known people, known actors.
Yeah. Okay, so Michael J. Fox was considered for the role.
All right,
but he was unable due to his commitment because he was doing Teen Wolf and Back to the Future at the time.
Yeah.
So imagine Michael J. Fox in that one.
It would have. I think it would have made even more money.
Of course,
because of Michael J. Fox, but and that would be crazy. But at the same time,
I don't think he would have played the homoerotic undertones quite well.
No, I mean Michael J. Fox in the 80s
was the shit.
Yeah, and he was a proper heartthrob as well.
Yeah,
and he wouldn't. I don't know. I think it would be very confused, even more confusing if he.
Yeah,
I don't think it would have worked as well.
I think so.
In terms of the protagonist.
Okay, there's three more who auditioned for the role, and some of these you have no idea. It would have been mind-boggling if they picked the role, right? Do you know how the very first one introduced the world to Johnny Depp, right? This movie would have introduced us to quite a few people, like Brad Pitt.
My God,
Brad Pitt, John Stamos
All right.
and Christian Slater all auditioned for the role of Jesse.
Right. Well, and just didn't get it. Or
They just didn't get it.
Yeah.
But fucking Brad Pitt. Well, it was only playing bit parts, but never like a big role. So this would have been his big role, playing a slightly homoerotic Jesse.
Yeah.
Oh God,
Murderer, really.
But yes, openly sexually provocative murderer. But that's just really fascinating. So yeah, all these people would have played the part. But so having Mark Patton, who is an openly gay actor, I think it makes sense in the original idea of the script, right? And be honest, can I say, you know how we were looking originally for the movie who was the worst actor? I actually think Jesse's the best actor in the whole movie.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Like, he has a really complicated role to play.
Yeah.
Like, he has to play, like, the timid self. He has to play a man literally losing his mind and also doing an imitation of Freddy Krueger all at the same time.
Yeah.
And also playing a performance that has homoerotic undertones, but by a director who has no idea the movie has homoerotic undertones, but still showing some of it, but still showing restraint. It's real.
But it's great that you told me that though, because it's like it does make so much more sense now.
It makes far more sense as a movie if it was clearly a gay allegory.
Yeah.
But no, it's fucking ridiculous. So we're introduced to Jesse, and then Jesse is sort of introduced as sort of like this kid who's a little troubled and still not settling in properly from moving into Nancy's house, right? We go to the high school, and the first shot is literally going to the high school is they're all just like playing like I think baseball or something. And we're introduced to the menagerie of short shorts and bright colours.
There's so much red in this movie. Obviously, just because of like the whole, Freddy Krueger thing with the red on the sweater. But there's not much green. It's like it's mainly just red everywhere.
Yeah. It's like vibrantly red.
Loads of people wearing bright red shorts, and we were watching in VHS, so the red was really popping out.
This is something we also have to mention as well. This is the first time we've actually saw something on the trash tapes entirely on VHS.
Yeah.
Which means that the last 3 episodes were a lie. They were not tapes.
Yeah. But they're movies of that kind of era where you would assume it would be tape.
Totally on tape.
Yeah.
Like you could totally got it on Blockbuster. Oh, fuck, Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that's a relic. The funny thing is that people...
I loved Blockbuster video.
So did I! I loved it. My family used to go round to the Blockbuster close to ours, and once a week we rent out a movie and a video game once a week.
Yeah.
It was a fun fucking time for me. Like, what movie we gotta watch today? Getting the VHS tapes, and they're always like, my dad would always get like the trashiest sort of like late 90s sort of action flick, and my mum's like, why the hell are we watching this? I love it.
But it's like, those kind of days are so gone now, because like when you have, now it's all, a lot of it's streaming, you can choose what you want to watch. But back in the day, you'd either watch what was on TV, just watch it because it's on, or you rent a movie and everyone just would watch that movie because that's the one you've got. Like, it's the one you chose in the end, and like, you could compromise and you just watch that. Yeah. Now everyone just watches exactly what they want, and you don't get that whole thing, you know.
Yeah, you get all that kind of, it's a shame really, because now it's so much easy. It's so easy to just not watch anything now that you miss the bit by just going into the shop and just browse and figure out they have it. And when you do realise they have Mortal Kombat 3 on Sega Mega Drive, you go like, oh my God, I'm getting it to the weekend. Yeah.
I don't know if you know. I don't know if I've told you this yet, but in the little town where I live down the road, you can still rent DVDs.
Nice.
There's a little place it's actually I think there used to be a video shop, but they had to move with the times because that wasn't like as popular anymore. So it's kind of it's a cafe now.
Yeah.
But it also has a little bit of like a section with DVDs, and you can go and rent them out. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know,
so it's cool that they kept that. You know, they didn't kind of just get rid of it and just be a cafe.
We just miss video stores, basically. We miss good old-fashioned video rental stores. So if there's actually any of them out there, it would be really nice to hear from you. Because I bet you there's still some floating around.
Yeah, because the thing is, VHS is very underground now. It's got a massive underground following.
Yeah.
And collectors will pay so much for rare tapes and stuff.
Yeah.
and it's massive, you know. But it's just it's not talked about as much as it's definitely not mainstream anyway.
So here we are. Basically, they're out at the baseball field, they're playing around, kind of thing, and we realise Jesse can't play sports well, and gets hit right in the head. And this is where we introduce to what we believe is supposed to be his bromance. What was his name exactly again? Because we remembered him.
Grady.
Yeah. Fucking
Is it
Grady.
Grady?
Yeah, it's Grady.
Yeah.
Fucking Grady. Yeah. Grady is now Grady, right? He is a proper jock, full-blown jock, but clearly has a bit of a thing going, right? Like, he's got a bit of a crush on Jesse, but Jesse definitely seems to have some kind of crush on him.
Yeah.
Like, they seem to be best buds, but by circumstance, because at the beginning of the movie, it doesn't look like they like each other, even know each other, right?
No.
And then they're forced to do sit-ups together, talking about how much of a queer the coach is.
Yeah.
You know, and just and then just insulting each other. And then he just goes like, and I think Jesse at one point goes and says like, "Are you mocking me?" He's like, "What, do you have a problem with me?" He's like, "No, man, I'm just shooting the shit." And just keeps doing press-ups.
It is literally like, it feels like pulling pigtails in the playground, kind of that bullying where I actually really like you, but I don't understand my feelings, so I'm kind of just going to push you around. And
Exactly.
Stuff.
It totally feels like, oh, I'm totally bullying you. That's because I secretly want you. It's it's so obvious as well. Like, at least from Jesse's point of view, it's so obvious that there is some level there, right?
Yeah. Everything's so saturated on VH.
I know, right?
The colours. I kind of like it. I like those colours popping, you know. Like,
I think
because the red really punches out.
I think it's done to compensate for the fact that it isn't really like sharp.
Yeah.
So because you can't see it really sharply, it's good to just have these bright, in-your-face colours. But then again, I think this entire movie's got nothing but bright colours. What the hell?
So you getting any at least?
It's funny, you know, when it like you compare actual 80s movies to like stuff that references the 80s, like Stranger Things. Like, it's like if you go back and you actually watch 80s movies like this, it's not as like, not everyone's in fully 80s stuff, like clothing wise. Like, it's like you get like the best friend that's kind of like got like looking like Cyndi Lauper, like over the top, and like, but not everyone is fully 80s. But
exactly.
It's almost like they have to in
really show it off, don't they?
They overcompensate a bit sometimes, though. It's like, it's a bit on the nose, isn't it? Like,
it's like, it is the 80s. Everyone wore this, no, they didn't. But now we just missed those two handsome young bucking lads wrestling to the ground, going nuts first.
Yeah, we've got to count the homoerotic references, like, or subtext.
If we'd be here all day. We missed we technically must have seen about 3.
God, just imagine if it was a drinking game of that.
It's like, but basically looking at something, how slightly gay it is. Just drink it.
Guy gets his rocks off like this. Hangs around queer S&M joints downtown.
There you go.
There you go, that's another one.
He likes pretty boys like you. Get out of here.
But this is where, by around this point in time, we're now introduced to Jesse's girlfriend, Lisa.
Yeah.
Now, Jesse's girlfriend, here's an interesting thing. It's played by Kim Myers. Now, Kim Myers was originally picked as Lisa for 2 reasons. One, Mark Patton himself actually insisted the casting director that he actually wanted it. So Mark Patton actually said, "I want Kim," which is interesting. Which I didn't know she even had that power. He fucking did it. And secondly, right, she was originally hired because she looks a little bit like a young Meryl Streep.
She does. I noticed that, actually. I didn't. When we were watching it, I didn't think of anything of it in terms of like to mention it then. But now you mention it. She definitely has got a little bit of a thing going on in that department.
Yeah. It's like there's something there. So, but it's like, out of all the things, were you trying to trick the audience? Maybe like, oh, we have Meryl Streep here. It's like, no, we don't have her. We have someone who looks a hell of a lot like her.
Yeah.
So now, what do you think of the Lisa character?
I don't know. I haven't really got a massive opinion about it. I mean, it's like, although when we were watching it, you were saying that she does seem like more like the hero of the story. Like,
it feels like it because Jesse this is what happens as we go along. That Jesse is having more bad dreams as usual, is having more bad dreams and is getting reintroduced to now Freddie, but now a bit more on the nose, right? At one point he goes down to sees Freddie in the basement and all that kind of stuff. And this is when we're first properly introduced to Freddie. Where it's one of my favorite bits where he goes in, it's like, Daddy! Like trying to open the door, and then Freddie's right there, Daddy can't save you now. And says you have the body, I have the brains, and pulls his scalp open to see a throbbing brain. Yeah. And that is a really, really cool sequence.
Yeah.
Again, undercut.
That's the scene where I was telling you about, Freddie wanted to kind of put the claw in the mouth, because he says something
and be seductive, yeah.
It says something like, we need each other.
We need each other. You and I, we've got some unfinished business. It's really, thinking about those lines as well, there is a really strong sort of obvious innuendo in this entire thing.
Yeah.
It's Daddy can't save you now. You and I have got some unfinished business.
And playing on probably what was in the original script, Freddie is sort of representing that fear of coming out and stuff, because he's being sexual towards it, it's
overtly. It's being it's weird because it's subtle, but it's also overtly sexual.
Yeah,
because he's stroking his eyebrows and his face with his claws, trying to be seductive, and then it's in lines you got the body and I have the brains. It's sort of
we're a couple.
We're a couple now. You and I are gonna be intertwined.
Fred in the basement burning stuff.
He's just recycling.
So he's living in Nancy's house, isn't he?
Yeah.
Or is it? No, he's living across the street. That's it.
Yeah, but I thought that this is Nancy's house, isn't it? That the people have moved into.
Oh yeah, sorry. That kid in the previous scene was talking about I think the Johnny Depp's character was killed across the street.
Yeah. So this is Nancy's house, and this is now I remember now.
Daddy can't help you now. I need you, Jesse.
Okay.
We've got special work to do here, you and me. You've got the body. I've got the brain.
Oh.
Slightly more manly in real life than in his dream. In his dream, he was screaming like a girl.
Properly It's do you remember The Simpsons when Ned Flanders screams?
Yeah.
It's pretty much that.
And another interesting factoid is that the makeup in this is actually done a little bit differently than it has been in other movies, because it has been said that who designed the original for the makeup movie only had a few references from the original, so he redesigned the mask all over again, studying the burn victims and making him look a little bit more skeletal. Which you notice, Freddy doesn't look like Freddy entirely from the first movie. He looks worse. If that makes sense.
Yeah, worse. Yeah, I mean, I think his face looks quite frightening in this movie.
Totally.
Yeah.
It looks really fucking frightening. And that's what's so cool about that. It looks worse in terms of, it looks more intimidating.
And it's lit really well, so it's always sort of, just you're getting it on highlight, you're getting the light, hitting it on highlights, but it's dead shadowed. So you never really see him in bright lights.
And that's perfect.
Yeah.
For something like that, that's what you needed, right? So he looks really, really scary. This is scary Freddy, by the way, because by around the third ones, where it was no longer scary Freddy, it was more funny Freddy. Yeah,
because the third one, he's coming out of a TV. It's it's part TV. And
it's that is...
Or a worm or something.
Yeah, when he comes out of the TV, he's it's prime time, bitch! Everything became a pun after that point. And that's because Freddy got really stupidly popular.
Yeah. I mean, that ended up being the Freddy that everyone loves, though. The funny Freddy. It's when you balance the scary, awesome stuff going on screen, but also the comedy kind of character, larger-than-life character. That's what became classic Freddy.
But this is the thing, though, with classic Freddy, though, is that the reason why classic Freddy exists is because kids were starting to watch the Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
Yeah.
And they were able to merchandise the fuck out of it. So they were able to get, like, Nightmare on Elm Street bags, Nightmare on Elm Street costumes, jumpers. The Friday on Elm Street jumpers sold like hotcakes. So children, people who were not supposed to be watching these movies, were watching them.
Yeah.
And so it's like, we might as well pander to them a bit. Which is why a lot of the movies after the third one were more like 15s or 12As at some point, rather than being like really gruesome. They weren't 18 by that point, because like, yeah, but we need to get some of the teenage money.
No, I think a lot of the movies were still like 18s, but it's when you got stuff like the TV show came about and they kind of really watered it down.
Yeah. That's where like you said, he almost became like a crypt keeper character, didn't he?
Yeah, but like, it's like all the it's like the Halloween costumes and stuff. There was loads of funny, like very sort of humorous looking Freddy costumes that you used to be able to get, like really sort of smiley kind of Freddy looking face and stuff like that, mask. There's lots of stuff that is very appealing to like younger audience.
And that's the thing. It's more like, it's not supposed to be. He's supposed to be a terrifying dream monster.
Yeah.
How is that appealing to your 10-year-old brother? It's weird.
But I actually do like the scary Freddy as well. Like from the first two movies.
Yeah.
I think I like a darker Freddy like in that respect, because it's just like, I mean, that's how he was originally intended. You know, he's meant to be a scary character.
Yeah, he's supposed to be, but then that dwindled down a bit. And this is what's interesting about this movie, is that there is no funny here. It's all serious here. And this is what I kind of like and I miss about it. Which is why I feel like there are far worse ones out there than the second one. Going back to the film, there's the bit where after all that happened, he's feeling a little bit anxious and unsure, right? So he goes back to school, talks about it to Lisa, and says, I'm going to do this thing, right? We'll meet up later. And so when Jesse's about to go meet Lisa up later, the dad goes and says, "Oi, you haven't finished unpacking yet. Go upstairs. Go upstairs." So he goes upstairs, and then he starts to do what seems to be probably the most random funny sequence in the whole movie.
Well, we said when we were watching it, I said that's my favourite scene.
Where you going, Jess?
Just out for a little while.
I told you I want that room unpacked.
Dan, I'm just going out for an hour or two.
Upstairs. Right now, son. Right now.
Come on, he's trying to get laid. Dad.
This is the scene coming up. Remember it?
No, I think I'll wait till it kicks in.
It's a dance scene. It's the most 80s thing ever.
Ooh, you know how to love me, yeah. We made love in the night.
How do you like that, man?
Underneath the baby.
Wow, those movements.
Here we go.
Oh, this is brilliant. This is what I do when I'm home alone, like 100%. What's with the butt? Oh, come on! Oh, my sweet Jesus.
It's the moves.
What? Oh. You're just playing with yourself, aren't you? And the girlfriend walks in just as you were probably the most camp you've been so far.
He had like something in it, like
what was that thing?
Something phallic shaped, and he was kind of thrusting with it. Like.
Okay, if that was not homoerotic subtext in some capacity, I don't know what that's supposed to be.
I mean, I was just cleaning my room.
I know.
Don't deny it. You had a diva moment. It's fine. Everyone has one. It's just the thing that still gets me. He's trying to close a drawer with his butt.
I know. It's great.
That's amazing. Oh, help.
Oh, God.
I love a good 80s sort of dance scene, like in a movie. Like, you got to like a really sort of like crazy kind of pop song going on, and just the character or multiple characters just dance to it. And in this movie, it's just this one guy, the main character, and he's just kind of really going for it when he's tidying up. He's put the music on loud.
Yeah.
He's getting into the music. He's put some shades on.
And he started to get right into it.
And the bit, though, when
that kills me.
he closes the door, the drawer on his like dresser with his bum. he just bum butts it a few times.
And on top of that, he's singing this proper 80s diva track.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, it was supposed to be like a lad. It would be like a proper like metal track or rocky, like it'd be like Motley Crue, yeah. No, he is proper divaing it out.
Yeah,
and
it's literally like singing girly songs into a hairbrush.
I think he almost does at one point.
Yeah.
And then he goes up on the bed and clearly gets something phallic, and clearly he's grinding against this thing. Like, what the hell?
And then the mum and Lisa just appear.
Walk in, and she's like, oh, no, I'm so sorry, I've got I'm so embarrassed. But here's the thing, though. Interesting factoid about this scene. The dance scene was meant to be an homage to Risky Business.
Right.
All right? Sensing impending embarrassment, Mark Patton actually didn't want to do this scene, forcing the production to repeatedly postpone the filming of that sequence. In the documentary, Patton had to figure out his own choreography. He told the filmmakers to roll the camera, and he gave it his best shot. But Patton later changed his story, telling them and said, "There's nothing I do in that movie that wasn't already written in the script." So in the script, it actually says Jesse bumps his ass against the door 3 times and then gets on the bed and pretends to masturbate. It's all written in the script. I didn't make this shit up. Well, the scene haunted some people involved for years, apparently. Patton has enjoyed an extended popularity in gay clubs at the time, and he is no longer finding it embarrassing. Well, good for him.
Yeah, because that is my favourite scene.
It's so funny.
It's so great to watch. It's really funny. And it doesn't feel... I don't feel embarrassed. I don't feel embarrassed for him.
I do it.
It just feels like it's just a great, funny scene, and he plays it well. And
on top of that, when you're home alone in the house, right, and you've got a tune on that you know it's a little bit of a guilty pleasure tune playing.
Yeah, it's just relatable.
You do that.
That's what I mean. It's like it's just showing off what you do in your room when a song comes on. Sometimes,
I do the full Risky Business thing. I slide. I do like the sock slide. I sing into my hairbrush. I do the whole thing, and it's just because you know what? It's a song you're really into, and you're home alone in the house. You want to, when no one's watching, of course you're going to pretend you're like the most amazing dancer on the planet. You are Tina Turner, damn it.
Yeah.
So this is where it leads on to Nancy's diary, and this is the only connection to the other movies, where Nancy's diary is found randomly in a wardrobe.
Yeah.
And Lisa and Jesse read it, and it turns out that this happens to be learning a little bit about Freddy Krueger, and how it's all the case. But here's a weird thing, that this seems really contrived. It feels like it's the only way they want to keep the thing together.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what's really, really confusing is that throughout the first movie, there was no sign that Nancy was the kind of girl who wrote a diary. Even though she is supposed to be like the sweeter, innocent one, I don't think she wrote a diary. And even then, there's no evidence that she wrote a diary.
No.
And then why would she bloody leave the diary on top of it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know whether it's whether it needs it, or like whether that... I suppose it could play on the whole thing of like, if it was just the gay thing,
yeah,
then it would be, like we were saying when we were watching it, it's a way of him to kind of manifest that side of him.
Yes.
That he hates, like, at that particular time, that he doesn't want to confront as Freddie.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's got this image now of reading that story of like from the diary of like Freddie, and he's like, "What?"
Yeah, but then at the same time, it's like because because the director has no idea there's supposed to be a gay allegory, and half the people on set are fighting that opinion. So I feel like half the people on the set clearly feel like it's a gay allegory, right? The other half of the people on the set are either denying it or following the director's rule. So this is why some of the choices are constantly clashing, and you're not sure where the movie wants to go.
Cool. The claw is itching for you. Kill for me. Does this man only got like 2 pajamas and that's it? And he always has it open chested?
Yeah, it's just like all the outfits are just quite like sort of suggestive, aren't they? And he's just got jeans.
See,
and
I remember this. See, that's legit creepy.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. I forgot this is the skipping room. I'll just close the door.
Like on Wayne's World, they've always wanted an open door where people are being trained like a James Bond movie.
Oh, another thing as well that we've noticed, and just a running joke, but it's true. People do not know how to do shirts in this movie, don't they? Like,
yeah, I mean, what decision is that? Who's made that? I mean, the director would obviously make that decision of like to have a lot of every time you see someone in a shirt, a lot of the time, or pajamas. Open, bare chest, usually like it's a bit sweaty,
a bit
so
sweaty and oiled up.
Like.
But if the director didn't see this as a gay allegory or some kind of homoeroticism to it, then clearly he just thinks that men walk around topless the entire time.
Well, that is also is in between it's like it can be a macho thing as well.
Yeah, but it's like I don't know. It's just like everyone had their chest out. Everybody, and it's good grief. Now. In the whole thing, it's mentioned that the coach is into BDSM, right? And he seems to hang out in what is considered the queer sex dungeon or whatever it is, right? So it is at one point as well, it's like, so finally, while he's what seems to be sleepwalking, because I feel like this, again, we're not sure about this part, he's sleepwalking and he seems to go into the queer BDSM club, which I think is called Nim's Place.
Yeah.
And he goes in, not entirely with it, but he has a sudden urge to go here. Now, again, if it is sort of like just a regular BDSM club and it's not actually supposed to have any queer undertones in it, then why the hell are there drag queens in it? Why the hell are there clearly leather daddies and like big papa bears and all these kind of every single gay trope in here?
Yeah.
It's just too obvious.
There is some people mixed in that kind of just look straight, like just mixed and thrown in there. But in general, there's more kind of gay stereotypes.
It's more of them. Like there's different kind of lesbians, different kind of gay men, different kind of drag queens. They're all here. Unless, and this is where I think maybe some of the director part is coming in, and we'll talk about it as we go. The director doesn't see this as a gay allegory, but sees homoeroticism as evil or tempting or unnatural, which could lead into that thing, but not in that sense. Because the scriptwriter is saying, like, it's perfectly fine. You know, it's like, it's fine. If you embrace that you're a gay man and not be so terrified of it, it won't consume you as much, right? You're consuming of the idea of coming out, not actually coming out, right?
Yeah.
The director's like, gays are weird, aren't they? Oh, they're all creepy and they wear leather and they go to bars and they kiss each other.
Yeah, I mean, in my eyes, I will talk about, when we get towards the end, I'll talk about my feelings of how it ends. But, like, with thinking that in mind, it could mean that the ending is quite, like, of a sad note, really.
Yeah.
Like, we'll talk about that more when we get there.
But it's like, again, there's going to be this whole queer theory is going to come through this entirely because it's now been embraced as this thing, and this movie's got a cult following now because of this. But the fact is, again, for no volition whatsoever, he goes into this gay bar, right? And he asks for a beer, which personally, look, if he's supposed to be under 18, mate, in fact, it has to be, in America's 21. He's clearly underage, and the guy just goes, here you go, bud.
And the bartender looks as if he knows he's underage, but he gives it him anyway. He's like, well, fuck it.
I think it's more like, well, I think it's more, well, your chest is open. You're looking quite cute. Here you go. Have a beer on me.
The way he gives him the glass.
He just flicks it at him. It's also like, here you go, champ. Look at you in your PJs.
Also, though, if you notice it, like in movies, no one ever seems to buy a drink.
No one exchanges money.
I mean, would you like give someone a drink who's clearly just showed up in their pajamas? They're probably not going to have any money on them. Like,
yeah, I think that's the thing. It's like, say, you're clearly not here. You're not with it. You must be asleep. But your chest is open and you're in a gay bar. Here, have a beer. That's literally my only fathom to this.
Yeah.
It's really, but this is just as he's pouring the beer and he's just about to have a drink, and then Leather Daddy Coach comes in. So
fancy seeing you here.
Hello. But the thing is, right, and this is what's interesting. If the coach is supposed to be like this closet, it's like this sort of semi-closet homosexual kind of thing.
I don't know whether he is maybe closeted.
I'm not sure, even if he is, or at least he doesn't like expose it often, right? Well, maybe not closeted, but maybe people know, but they don't talk about it.
I think just in his private life, he's just fully open with that. Like,
I think that might be the case. Yeah. He's fully open in it, but he doesn't, in school and other things, it's like people know about it, but they don't talk about it, that kind of thing, right?
All right.
By the way, is it just in his pyjamas? Open pyjamas?
Open chest pyjamas from the rain, surrounded by leather daddies, sexy ladies, and some drag queens? I'm going with that. He's underage. He's probably going like, it's a new sex thing. You just go in your PJs everywhere you go. Oh, hi, coach.
Awkward.
And you're just running laps? Personally, if you went down there and got called for, I don't think laps is the only thing that would have occurred. Jesus.
Now, I'm not saying it's be a bit weird and predatory, but the idea is like he goes and sees one of his students, and his first reaction to this is not like to take him home, go to the police, maybe even try and flirt with him. No, it's like, no, we're going back to the gym, we're going back to the high school and run laps.
But isn't this similar to like before, like with the whole pulling your pigtails type thing? He's like, he might sort of like actually like him as well, if you know what I mean. Might like
maybe,
him.
But
it's kind of like, it's kind of that kind of bullying. Like.
Yeah, I guess so, but here it's not. I think this is more just like, there's far more worse things you could have done.
Yeah.
Like, could be a bit more exposure. Maybe so, or maybe he's done this because maybe he doesn't want to out him, maybe. Because if he does go and say, guess where I found him? I found him in Nim's place, where I hang out. Maybe it's like a weird way of covering both their butts, I guess. Yeah. But it's bad phrasing. Bad phrasing. But it just feels like, oh, not only are you underage in a gay bar, you've caught me in my leather vest in this gay bar.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to run laps. The punishment doesn't seem to fit the crime much.
Yeah, because I see what you mean, because it's like, oh, I don't want the school to know about this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, and he's just like, you better, like, and then he punishes him because of that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like saying...
But it is weird to go back to school.
It feels like let's just run some laps.
Yeah.
Unless you see him running laps, I have no idea.
Yeah, well, he does seem to get a kick out of it, like just watching him run and stuff.
And then, this is where we get the first really cool Freddy death, right? Well, cool. Cool as in weird and kinky. Because... Jesse now's having a very, very long shower. Like, it is a long shower, because obviously he's just been embarrassed and whatever. It's like weird, right? But then the coach is now being... He's in his office, still in the leather outfit. Like, he's like, he hasn't got a change of clothes. He's still in his leather daddy outfit.
Now. I think it's hilarious.
He's still in his leather daddy outfit with like his tight leather pants and everything else. It's great.
And he's got like he's got a vest on. It's got some kind of like metallic thing on the front, and then he's got like a big
it's got like a leather guard and everything
like
else.
Gauntlet type thing on.
I'm convinced the vest has got like a sexy zip or something for something inappropriate.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Oh my god, he's been hit with balls.
More balls than he can handle.
All the balls into his face. I still love the fact he's still wearing like the leather vest throughout the entire thing. Oh my god.
Too many balls.
It's too much. This is not tennis.
What I don't get as well is like
So he's in the shower. So all this is Freddie now. This has to be.
yeah, but I suppose as it's like it actually is supposedly Jesse, but he doesn't think that it's him.
Death by towel whip. Get those buns sore.
Screams are so great.
Thing is, it was looking really cool up to that point, you know? You're like going like, man, and then suddenly the scream undercuts everything.
And then he's in the office, and then suddenly balls him in the face.
Everywhere, like every like sort of sort of gym room ball, like every type of like sports ball you can think of.
Football, basketball, baseball, tennis ball,
Those
dodgeball.
big, what medicine balls?
Yeah,
like
all of
heavy
them.
ones.
He's being legit teabagged by all of these balls, right? He's being overpowered by the weight of all these balls. How is this not obviously an allegory? Like, how? And then he's got skipping rope, and he's being dragged on the floor by imaginary Freddie across the floor. Now, if someone who's into BDSM, right? Someone who's into BDSM wouldn't find this a problem.
No.
They would just be like, that's fine. But he's like, oh no! Oh no!
So it's like, it's for the coach.
Yeah.
This is like,
it's like a Tuesday night.
It's probably like nice for him until he gets killed. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm quite liking this. Because it's like, this is where the director would have come in. Because the director would have directed him to act like it's not good. Like,
This is not good. You're being dragged by an imaginary person.
But
it's like
scripted, it might have been different.
Yeah, scripted would have probably said like, I'm technically they basically found me in a queer BDSM bar wearing leather. I don't think this is going to terrify me much, right? So, but this leads him into the shower where Jesse's having a shower kind of thing, right? And it goes in, he gets tied towards the showers. And this is actually a really cool, but obviously a fucking obvious kind of thing, right? He's tied to the showers, he's stripped butt naked, and then he's towel whipped to death, basically.
Well, that's like the foreplay, isn't it? But the thing is,
it's the reddest butt.
Yeah, you see like a blood red butt from the towel whips, which is like the foreplay, and then you just get slashed to death.
Freddie comes in and just slashes him in the back 3 times, and it's just. And the thing is, I think Coach, the way he's reacted to it made me laugh because he's going, "Oh no, oh no." Oh no! And he's not sure. I'm not sure if he's legit terrified or into it. I have no idea.
That's where you see. That's what I'm talking about. That's like that's poor directing in that. In terms of like, if the director knew what was going on in the script, he would have directed him to be like. To act in a different manner at that particular point.
Like maybe the idea
probably would have been enjoying it for a bit,
and then it's like, and then he could have added a line and say, "Oh, you think you could enjoy this? Huh? Let me see if you like this," and it slashes him open. It's like it's like you dirty bastard.
But then you get an awesome scream from Jesse in that scene.
Again, it's this.
That's probably the best scream because you actually see him that particular time.
Yeah,
and he.
Oh, yeah, I love it. Oh, yeah, to talk to him.
The build-up, though, is so great because it's like scary scene, like actually quite graphic in what's going on.
It's nasty.
And he's great, and it builds up, and Jesse looks, and he's got the glove in his hand, and it's a tense scene, and it's kind of everything's kicking off.
And he does this bit which I like, which he just goes. It's like, it's like he just plays his fingers.
he screamed in the girliest like scream I've ever heard.
His scream. It's like a 10-year-old girl who saw a spider for the first time.
It really is. It's great though. But it makes the scene so it end on such a comical note.
But that's the thing, it's so undercut.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, like, that's actually a really badass sequence we just watched. By this point, he's then found by the police walking naked in the middle of the road for no goddamn reason. Again, sleepwalking. So now the parents think he's either sleepwalking or on drugs. Whatever it is, right? So this now helps the parents sort of explain what the odd behaviour, right? You're either sleepwalking and you're being weird, or you're on drugs and you're being weird. Or you're crazy and you're being weird.
It's the only explanation.
It's the only explanation. There's nothing else. You're just either on drugs, sleepwalking, or crazy. So we get loads of little sequences in between that's sort of building up the relationship now between Jesse and the girlfriend. Yeah. Now, the thing is, again, being sort of a gay allegory kind of idea, this makes a bit more sense when you look back at the relationship, because it doesn't feel like a romantic relationship, really, until later on in the movie.
Hanging out, and it's like he's...
They're not even hugging or cuddling or whatever.
It's like he's with her because... he's like he's supposed to do that. He's supposed to.
It's heteronormative.
Yeah. Like society would tell him, "Oh, I'm supposed to find a girlfriend now," and I'll hang out with this girl because she's nice.
But they act a little bit like a gay friend and a good friend. It's like gay friend and a girlfriend kind of thing. It feels like that, but not like we're going to do each other's nails or something really campy like that. It's nothing like that. It feels like an actual friendship here, like a really solid friendship, because the romance factor doesn't come in until near the third act, where there's actual sense of romance.
Yeah.
But then I think this is where the director really kicks in. And this is where the director's putting in, saying, no, they have to be together. They've got to be together. And here's an interesting factoid as well. Jesse is the only Nightmare on Elm Street movie where the leads are male. Everyone else is a female.
Yeah.
Which, again, adds to the whole I am the only male scream queen kind of scenario.
Well, he's got definitely got the scream
down. In fact, his scream's really impressive. Like, it beats a couple of the ladies out there.
Yeah. It's like a classic, like, Hammer horror, like...
Yes!
Like, female lead scream, isn't it?
Oh. So and this is where I feel like the theory that she's the hero of the piece, if the film was done the other way around and was from her perspective instead of his perspective, would have played that she's the hero, because she's doing all the research. She is the one really trying to help Jesse out.
Yeah.
And almost feels like it's helping him come out.
Yeah.
Like, says, like, it's fine, come out. It's like aiding him. It's like, it's like, look, let's look into this. What you're doing, what you're thinking is sort of this manifestation or whatever it is. You have to, whatever it is, we need to find out more about what this fear is. Yeah. So in this case, it's the fear of Freddy Krueger, right? But it's clearly also an allegory of what are you scared of if you confronted this?
Yeah.
And again, the gay allegory idea of coming out for some gay people is really, really hard. And it's because they might know about the family's traditions, philosophies, morals, whatever. They're worried about the backlash. So there's a lot running behind that, right? So there's a genuine fear. And that's what Freddy Krueger's playing with Jesse, is this horrible fear, right? But it's all underpinned with the idea, no, he's not scared about coming out, he's scared of Freddy Krueger.
The Lisa character... it's played quite one note, which is unfortunate. That's why I said, like, I don't really have much of opinion about it.
She's very toned. There's no real emotion with her.
No, it's like it's a good character, but it's not performed particularly brilliantly. So, like, you can't really sort of root for her. Yeah,
and you can't root for her because she's basically a blank slate for the first 2/3 of the movie, right? Because we're following Jesse.
Yeah.
Jesse has the complex situation. Eventually they go to like the original where Freddy Krueger's sort of like factory is.
Yeah.
And they go and confront that. And I love this bit. It's like, what's in they open up the random shack.
I like that. What do you mean Freddy Krueger's factory?
No, what the factory?
Is that the place supposedly where he was burned or something? They burned him or something?
Yeah, where it was sort of like where he worked and also where he got burned later. So it's basically he worked in the boiler room in there.
Yeah.
And that's where he lured the children in to kill them.
Yeah, and it wasn't it's Lisa that knows that.
Lisa knows that. Lisa
She found that out.
That's what I'm saying. Lisa
Yeah.
did the research. Lisa's finding out who the fuck Fred Krueger is. And Jesse's like, oh no, I'm having bad dreams and I'm killing people. And he's not doing anything proactive other than moan like a bitch.
Yeah.
God damn it. So she goes over to the thing and they go over together in the thing and they look at the round and try and figure out what more about Fred from here. They open up a shack, or like a random like fucking door. And is
so much build-up to opening that locker. It just keeps coming back to them, back to the locker, back to them. It's like tail with his tense, but it goes on for ages.
And then it opens and
it's a rat. And the rat's like, fucking hell, mate, I've been in here for like 2 years. And then they just lock him in again.
Like, come on! I love how her reaction is like, oh no! It's like, that's the scariest, that's the thing that's gonna scare you, mate. Wow. And Jesse's like, what the fuck? Just standing there, whatever, nonchalantly. Most of the movie is just basically this. It's him having nightmares, him either sleepwalking or teasing or other things like that throughout the majority of the movie, and him going slowly but surely crazy. There's a bit where he has a bit of a tiff with Grady, and it's like a really sassy moment in the cafeteria. It's like, I don't need your support, Grady!
Mind you, Grady is being really annoying in that scene because he's talking while he's eating constantly.
Hey, Ronnie. So you going to Lisa's house tomorrow night?
Nope. I'm grounded.
How come?
I think my grandmother down a flight of stairs.
I wish she would talk to me. You know, we can figure it out. We can figure it out together.
There is nothing to figure out.
I don't want to waste my time with this guy's investigation.
Shut up, Grady.
Ooh!
Want to shut up? Fine, I'll shut up. No problem.
No.
I just wanted him to talk and eat at separate times.
I had no idea what he said. I think he said, I can't because I threw my mother down a flight of stairs.
That's what it sounded like.
That's terrible.
Then all this sort of build-up is going crazy and everything else is building up to the point, which is now the third act, which is the pool party. Okay? Now, the pool party's fun.
Yeah.
The whole bit in the pool party I actually find quite hilarious.
I love the contrast of the parents attending the pool party.
Oh, well behaved.
When you got the music like The Shining, like the sort of the really old-fashioned like 1930s kind of music.
It's like, that's how you party, right? Look at this old-fashioned swing and look at me cook some Wheaties.
So it's really sort of like it's trying to be as sophisticated as they can. The parents are trying to keep it all in control, and then the parents go, "Oh, we're just going upstairs now."
Yeah.
And
then, terrible parenting. Yeah. Can I say this, right? Okay, they have a pool party with at least 30 or 40 teenagers, right? There's like 30 or 40 teenagers, right?
What did they expect was going to happen?
What they expect going to happen too, right? It's like, get everything wrapped up before midnight, dear. Like 12:30 latest, right? And they're clearly looking like they're going to get some drink on, get a little action. You know, they're going to get their own thing going because, you know, no one else is getting laid in this godforsaken movie. That sounds terrible. And so they go off, leaving 35 teenagers, randy teenagers, with their own devices. And they go, and I love it because some of the teenagers are like waiting outside the window. They're waiting outside the window. They're waiting over there, waiting for the parents to go into their bedroom and to switch off the lights.
The thing is, they don't hang around. Like bullets have left guns slower. It's like they wouldn't even be asleep or sort of distracted enough yet.
Yeah.
For them to go full on, put the music on loud, start getting the beers out and stuff. It's like,
oh god, I love it. But literally, like the light goes off. Yeah, music changed. Everything's on party mode. People are stripping clothes and jumping on each other. Beer. And you're thinking, Jesus Christ! Like you're not even trying.
It's incredible.
At this time, then, Jesse's there, and Jesse is hiding in what looks like the pool house kind of thing, right? And he's not feeling comfortable. He's not happy because he's had to try and stay awake this entire time because he had like a near episode where he nearly killed his sister. Remember that bit? And he's on stay up.
Yeah.
The only brand of proper, like, you know, energy pills.
And also combined with the caffeine of Coca-Cola as well. Like,
80s.
He's washing it down.
80s Coca-Cola as well, which must also have caffeine and so much fucking sugar.
Probably cocaine.
He's keeping it, so he's not slept in days. He's going crazy. He's starting to get like antsy and really like, right? And so he's at the pool party. He goes to the pool house, like, I can't do this. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm going crazy. I don't want to be here. I'm ruining the party. I need to figure this out. And Lisa is already trying to, Lisa's going, and what they do is, and this is where I start thinking, again, the director had a little bit of say in this now, because his reaction is to go with Lisa and to sort of get intimate, right?
Yeah.
Now,
but at the same time, it
wasn't like sexually like prime, wasn't it? It was like sensitive.
But it's like if the character still was battling coming out, that would be a thing to do at a party. Like, I'll go and make out with my girlfriend. Everyone expects me now to make out with her.
And on top of that, it's not like I'm just. But the thing is also, it wasn't like I'm gonna ram you. Almost, it's basically like I'm gonna do it very sensually. I'm gonna do it because it's like because they don't really kiss. They sort of kiss a bit, and then they sort of like, and he goes for the hand and kisses her hand and goes really soft and it's sensual. So it's like baby steps for him. This is baby steps, like. Okay, start slowly, and then the music starts riving up and everything, and then they're getting it on, right? They go about to get it on. You know, he's playing with the boobs, baby steps. You know, he's going for the boobs. He started licking between. He's going for right to the belly button, and then he grows a horrendous mutated Gene Simmons like tongue.
Yeah,
that comes out of fucking nowhere.
But then that could still be the whole like. Oh, I'm disgusted with myself that I'm doing this.
Yes, I'm gross. Yeah. This is not what I'm interested in, right? And so this big sort of Freddy Krueger's clearly playing with his mind, playing this horrendously nasty tongue, making him feel like, oh, you're dirty, aren't you? You're about to go down. We know what's down there. Do you know what's down there? I don't think you do. And so this literally puts him off doing anything else, and he runs. And so Lisa's now left almost, because she's getting into it.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
She's getting into it and left frustrated that her boyfriend has just left him midway. Not even going to second base, like properly. Like just fondling boobs and nicking a belly button doesn't count, I think. And so she can see she's frustrated going, fuck, almost like, damn it. Honestly. And then what's the first thing that Jesse does?
He just ends up in Grady's bedroom.
Alright, go for the neck. Baby steps, baby steps. Oh, that's Gene Simmons level of tongue them right there. I just had a gross ass tongue stick out.
Yeah, but it's like, it's always a metaphor for
It's a metaphor for something. See, like, how is it she's getting frustrated because she was so getting into it?
Yeah.
Like, this is the thing now. This has to be. Oh, hello.
Go straight to him.
Get the shit out of me, man.
Because I secretly love you. Still, shirt open.
Hey.
People don't know how to close their shirts.
In trouble. I need you to let me stay here tonight.
Are you out of your mind?
I think you are seriously losing it, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I'm scared, Grady. Something is trying to get inside my body. Yeah,
well.
And you want to sleep with me. Look, I don't care if you believe me or not. Hey, I believe you. You've had some scary dreams, okay?
But the first shot is Grady in his bedroom, and then Jesse literally jumping on top of him.
Yeah, it's like he's literally gone from like one sort of bed to the other, if you know what I mean. Not that he was in bed beforehand, but it's like literally just lands on Grady. Like,
yeah, just properly lands on Grady, covers his mouth as if it was like, shh, I'm not supposed to be here.
Yeah,
I'm being a bit naughty. But the thing is, all I'm saying, it goes to Grady. And literally, to my knowledge, the way the speech is written sounds like him trying to come out to him.
Yeah, definitely.
And trying to say that I have feelings for you, but I don't know how to embrace this because I'm so confused.
Yeah.
Because he's going through this mental breakdown of not of the consequences of coming out, right? Again, as a clear gay allegory, this movie's really fucking good as a gay allegory, but it doesn't go 100% with it. And it's really annoying that he's coming out this way.
And the Grady character is sort of like accepting of that in a way.
He's being sympathetic.
Yeah.
But it's not like, I totally want to be with you. But it's more like, I get it, you're scared, you're feeling something, you don't know what it is. It's fine, I'm here to listen.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, he lets him stay there, doesn't he?
He lets him stay there and watch him sleep. And again, the thing is, again, is like, there's a level of like homoeroticism between the two because they're basically both topless and they're like being cuddly, whatever it is at one point. But, you know, like there's a level there, but it's clearly about him trying to come out to him to confess his feelings for him.
Yeah.
Right? His sort of bromancy feelings for him. And so when Jesse falls asleep, and then literally what seems like the exact moment that Grady's about to fall asleep, Jesse wakes up and says like, oh God, it's happening again.
The urges.
The urges. The sexy urges. That's what it feels like. It's like, it's almost like when you get an accidental erection. I think that's what it is with him. It's like sitting there going, oh no, I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah. It's like when you're on the bus and the vibrations.
Yes.
On the school bus, the Freddie school bus. Looks like he's got rubber sheets. I don't know if it's just satin or what, I can't tell.
Gravy? What? It's starting to happen again.
Uh-oh.
Hey, man.
It's getting the urge.
What's wrong with you, dude?
Looks horrible, doesn't it?
That actually looks really painful. Oh my God, this is Freddy's coming out party. Of course.
Well, Freddie is supposed to act on your biggest fears, isn't
So
he? Like,
to him legitimately coming out of a shell.
yeah.
Oh, that's... This actually looks really gross.
It's the most graphic metaphor for coming out ever.
I've ever seen. I've literally just come out of my own shell. No. Don't kill Grady. We like him, and he's cute.
And then, again, the whole sort of thing is like, Freddy literally comes out of him.
But that's what's so great, because that scene, like you said, is obviously, to us, it seems like it's about coming out, and then he does actually come out.
He comes out, and it's like, it's the embodiment of fear, of being like, being like hated and like discriminated against, and to be like left because of his homosexual urges.
Yeah.
And it happens to be embodied by Freddy Krueger. And it's awesome how it's do, because first of all, the fingers turn into like the claws, and it's really painful.
Looks awesome. Like
it's like, and then
that's another cool rendition of the claw that you don't. I don't know if it's been in any other movies.
No, I don't think so.
Where it's not the glove. It's like the claws are coming out.
It's the hand.
Fingers.
It's like the hand. And so it comes. So that happens, and then slashes are literally happening all over his arms and his body, and Freddy literally comes out. It's his Freddy Krueger's coming out party, and he's gone fully by breaking out of Jesse's shell.
Yeah, it's a great looking sequence.
It's awesome.
He just stretches out of his chest and just ends up bursting out like Alien.
I know, it's so gross. One of my favourite bits in it is when when Jesse has his mouth open, you see an eyeball at the back of his mouth.
Yeah, that's great.
And so he just like, he rips it out of him. And so literally the fear of coming out of your shell or to come out, literally, that is the full embodiment of that movie. And then, so Freddie goes in, kills Grady, like in a really nasty manner as well. Like he grabs him and just stabs him and drags him down, and it's gross. And now
the parents are on the other side of the door trying to get in the door, and they're like getting upset because they can't get in.
And seeing the blood for the door.
It's a tragic scene.
So you see Jesse with the claw covered in blood, shouting at the mirror, saying, "You killed him, you son of a bitch!" Which, again, he would be fucking distraught because he's probably killed his first sort of man crush, like, ever. And he was about to literally come out to him and maybe not make something work, but feel finally at ease. And Freddie fucking kills him because he's a dick.
Yeah.
And then from there, Freddie comes back again, because Lisa reads the diary some more and says, like, Freddie was killed before. We can kill him again. You have to fight it. Fight the urge. Fight Freddie. Fight him.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't. He caves in and becomes Freddy Krueger. And then, again, the whole thing we're saying is, like, is she seeing Freddy? But we have to think, because the way she's reacting, she's seeing Freddy. Because otherwise she wouldn't react the same way, right? And then Freddy fights Lisa for a bit.
I love when you hear Jesse's voice.
I love you, Lisa.
It's like,
kill me, Lisa.
It makes you think of, like, Freddy's, like, actual voice is like that, and he's like, when then the camera's not on, he's like kind of going, okay, I'm just going to talk like this.
So oh, lovely. So great. Thank you.
But when the camera's on, I'm like,
I'm big and scary. Oh, it's lovely. Thank you. Did you get a cup of tea? Oh, thanks. I needed to soothe my voice. You know how hard it is to do that? My goodness.
Kill me, Jesse.
Kill me.
No, kill me, Lisa.
Kill me, please. All right. And then, so that somehow, Jesse's fighting back a little, which is good. Then Freddy just runs out a window, breaks the window, disappears, for no reason. Like, why the collateral damage, right? And then appears at the pool.
Yeah.
And this is where it goes fucking bonkers. He kills so many people in this pool. The pool starts boiling. Right?
The weenies pop.
Like this, everything's about to catch fire. It's getting properly burning, right? And he starts slashing people left, right, and center. Everything's going fucking apeshit. He kills nearly half the people, throwing them into the pool. Everything. And then, you know, this is, again, the idea is, what are these guys seeing? Are they seeing Freddy Krueger? Or are they seeing Jesse playing Freddy Krueger?
See, I don't think they're supposed to see Freddy. I think because in like a lot of the dialogue would support that, because it's like you've got your characters saying, you know, what are you doing, man?
It's
like,
okay, calm down.
Like,
yeah, and if it was Jesse, this makes sense.
Yeah.
Seeing a half-crazy burn victim who looks terrifying like Freddy Krueger, that's the last thing you tell him, to calm the fuck
You'd
down.
Just be running the opposite direction.
I know. But this is the thing, because the movie doesn't, like, do this interesting intercut. Like, maybe you see, like, Jesse at one point just acting in the same pose as Freddy is, or whatever, or Freddy's doing more mannerisms like Jesse.
Yeah.
Like, there's none of that in between.
No, it's like the director has said, no, we've got to go full force on Freddy now and do, you know, what Freddy does, and just like have everyone scared of Freddy and have him kill loads of people.
Yeah.
But I think the script would have been more like they're seeing Jesse, and even though the visual would be Freddy,
yes,
it would be obvious to the audience that it's, you know, Jesse.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's the thing, it just needs a little bit more push. Like, either Freddy Krueger starts acting more like Jesse, which would have been more interesting, or you had moments where Jesse is acting like Freddy Krueger, and then we would have understood what the perspective is supposed to be. And this is where the whole muddling of the gay allegory or the fears or anything else gets into play.
It's a shame, really, because it sounds to me like the script is great, and it could have, with the right director, it could have been fantastic. Like, it was played like how it's supposed to be. Like,
who's getting hot in the pool? You overcooking the weenies! No!
Popping.
Do weenies pop? Uh-oh. Oh no, the beer! Yeah! That's like a Jack in a Box.
Red in the box.
Yeah! Ah! Nice. Oh my god, it's teenager soup!
The dad has got unbuttoned pajamas as well.
What is it with the 80s? Where's the flippin' shirts right?
I mean, either like not wear the top or just like button it up.
Put a t-shirt underneath, man! We don't need to see oil chest.
You are all my children now.
Go on, Dad.
Gun him down! Oh, come on, better aim!
It's Jesse.
Or is it?
Freddy's now full force, right? So he literally disappears by walking into a hedge.
Yeah, the burning bush.
This literally catches fire as he walks, as if he's just found a gateway to hell, all right? And then Lisa, the only one who knows that Freddy is Jesse and Jesse is Freddy, gets in the car, goes back to the original like factory kind of thing, and goes to try and face off Freddy. And there's two bits before she fights off Freddy, which I think are the most ridiculously random things in the whole movie. So she walks into it and sees these two dogs with weird-ass human faces.
They're like baby faces on dogs.
Yes!
It's really creepy, but it doesn't make any sense. It's like, that could be another director thing. Let's just add these monsters in there, because they look cool.
Just be fucking weird, right? And it's just literally there. They're not even, like, attacking. They're just going...
No, they're like guardians or something, but we're saying the guardians are not doing a good job, because they let it go...
No, they let it go through. It's like, it's never brought up again, right? And then, right, she's going up the stairs. And then the rat shows up. The rat just... But it's really fucking weird. It's like, clearly they had to build puppets for this. So this is what I mean. It goes... And then the rat goes... And you see the full garb of the teeth. And then a fucking cat comes out of nowhere.
And the cat's monstrous as well.
The cat eats the rat and just goes... And you're like, what the fuck's happening here?
Well, the puppet animation reminds me of, like, Trapdoor. So remember that animation Trapdoor?
Yes!
Like pasta scene type, like, scary monsters.
I fucking love Trapdoor. So Lisa finally finds Freddy Krueger. In this case, it's like full Freddy Krueger, because like, Jesse is dead, Jesse's not real, I'm here now. And the sort of the thing, and here's one of the things of the backlash from some of the reviews, okay, is that is the biggest plot hole of the movie, they said, is if Freddy can kill people in their dreams, why would he need to possess a human being to kill people if he can just kill them in their dreams?
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's almost like they're trying to hint at the fact that because he was kind of like he was defeated in the first movie. It's almost like he hasn't gained full power yet, so he has to possess Jesse to be kind of reborn again, and then
to ignite fear.
Then he
I
would
guess.
have like all his powers back, but. It doesn't... that's just me assuming.
That's the thing, because the movie doesn't say a peep about it.
Yeah.
Not only that, like, it's... If it was... Because I know in later mythos it says he's fueled by the fear of children, right? So he's fueled by it. And after 5 years after the original incident, you need to reignite fear again. And maybe that's the case.
Yeah,
but,
so... Because, I mean, by that point, Jesse's, like, completely afraid, isn't he? So he can, like...
No, but here's the thing... But no one's afraid. But no one's being afraid of Freddy Krueger. They're afraid of Jesse.
Yeah.
So that doesn't work.
No.
Fucking plot hole.
Okay. Oh no!
Imagine kissing Freddie.
Christ. He'd never look like a good kisser anyway. Ugh.
Here's Jesse.
Look, that's the world's worst face mask. No, that's a beauty regime I don't want to have.
God's sake.
It's a bit smoky, but look how youthful I am. It's like I've shed I'm a whole different person.
It's the dead child killer face pack.
Guaranteed to get rid of all your evil inside you.
This is where people can start having a weird sort of bizarre twist on the ending. Because I have a bit of an interesting idea on the ending. So, Freddie is saying, like, no, I've taken over now. I'm the thing, rah, 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 right? And Lisa's saying, no, I love you. I love you. You and me are going to be together. Freddie, you're not going to have this anymore. You and I, we're in love. And that's the thing.
And that, to me, is quite... Because going with the gay thing, it's like it's like he's suppressing it again. And he's like, okay, yeah, I'll try and be in love with Lisa, and I'll try that, and it ends on that note. Like,
because the idea, because by this point, Lisa somehow seduces Freddie so they can kiss, and the kiss is so powerful that is left Freddie like wasted, and then he catches fire and burns to a crisp.
Yeah,
and then Jesse comes out of the ashes of Freddie, like pulls off his head. He's literally like in a Fred suit.
Yeah.
And disintegrates, and then they get intimate again. Now, here's the thing, right? But that's the thing, is they don't kiss at that point, they just hug. But then the point that says, like, oh, you've gone back to heteronormative, and you thought, like, the idea that being gay is a bad thing, is when they're at the bus, and they're in the bus, they kiss, and they act like a couple.
Yeah.
Not like friends. And
that's why, that's what I'm saying, it's like, it adds on for me, it ends on a sad note, because I think the movie should have been all in his head all along. So Freddie doesn't actually come back.
Yeah.
It's like, it's Jesse's idea of Freddie has got into his head, and he is the killer. And then it's kind of like, but then obviously it's annoying because it's like, it's not Freddie killing people in the dreams. That's not classic
exactly. So, let's start wrapping this up a bit. So, overall, what do you think of the movie, and what do you think about the feedback in terms of, is this the worst Freddy Krueger movie in the franchise?
Definitely not the worst. I would argue that something like Freddy's Dead.
That's a piece of shit. That's the 6th one, isn't it?
Yeah, the one that's like, it was in 3D and stuff like
Yeah.
It's got like a weird sort of music video section where it's kind of like 3D. That's got that element in there.
10 minutes of 3D.
And,
that's it.
That, I would argue that's probably one of the worst. And I definitely still... I do quite like this movie, even though it's got the problems of like the conflict between the director and the screenwriter.
Yeah,
I still enjoy it, you know.
And that's the thing is, looking back at this, I think this is more like, this was not a terrible movie. In fact, I argue that it's actually really, really good. I think it's definitely a cult classic, and I think this is a reason why I can totally understand why the LGBT community have embraced this movie 100%. The problem, I find, is that it's a frustrating one.
Yeah.
Because you can see that it's in the hands of a different director, someone who was not oblivious to the homoeroticism in this, would have played this 100%. The movie could have been a fantastic, like, coming out movie.
Yeah, because you don't normally get that kind of storyline in a horror, do you?
At all. In fact, it's very rare would you consider, like, gay horrors, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And this would have been a mainstream gay horror. And I think that's what, it's like we see it now.
So was it too ahead of its time in that respect?
I think so. I actually think this is a fantastic film. I really like the movie. I think, yes, it has its problems, and we did joke. because that scream is amazing. But
the butt on the drawer.
But the butt on the drawer is Nightmare on Elm Street 2 Freddy's Revenge is not the worst in the franchise.
Definitely.
And it's actually got a lot to talk about. So,
and we definitely recommend it, wouldn't we? To like,
this is the first one out of all the movies, this is the first one to actually say, just watch it. Like, it's a good movie. Not like the other three where you're going to have to, you might need some beers for it. This one isn't too bad. And I think it can be enjoyed sober. Shock, I know.
And go into it knowing about that, because if you just watch it without that, knowing about anything about the subtext, it's kind of probably just
a bit. But if you watch it with the subtext in mind, you realise actually this could have been really good. So on that note, we will plan a little bit something for next time round. Now I am thinking sometime next time round we finally should get some kind of kung fu action into the mix. So we'll watch that for next time round. But in the meantime, keep an eye on your trash. There might be some treasure in there. See you next time.
See you guys.
This podcast has been an enigmatic production. It's hosted by Johann Chipol and music by Edward Harvey. If you like what you hear, subscribe to the podcast. We are on Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and Buzzsprout. Share it, like it, write a review. For more information on our other projects, check out our website, www.enigmaticproductions.co.uk.
Thank you guys very much for watching. If you like what you see and want to see more trash like this, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. We also got the Trash Tapes audio podcast, which is available on Spotify, iTunes, and all other platforms. So, until next time, keep an eye on your trash. There might be some treasure in there. See you guys later.
See you guys.